you. Okay, team. Good morning. As Sharon and Liz mentioned when they first signed in, there's a lot of mail coming in. And I don't know if many of you have had a chance to see the 9:15 memo from our attorney. We may have time to talk about that later, but here's how I would like to go through our meeting today. I'm going to come back and do the roll call and the minutes and stuff, but I just want you to think about this. I want to review with you the document that we would be sending to the CRC. Then I want to go in, because Bill Apple spent a lot of time this weekend going through our old document and making comments. And I want to share with you what those comments are. And I think that the ones that I have put together are ones we may be able to accept. Then I want to hear from Tom on his minority report. And if any of the other commissioners have something that they want to present before we get to the public comment, I want to do that. I had planned on having us talk about the build out analysis, and I'm not sure how much of that we're going to be able to get to, but that's kind of what I'm proposing for us right now. So having said that, the recording has started. We have Dick and we have Tom and we have Robert and we have Sharon and we have Liz and we have Kyle and we have Anne Marie. Am I missing anybody? Kevin. We've got Kevin. So we've got the full complement of the commissioners. Did we want to accept the minutes from the last meeting?
I move.
Yes.
Okay, do we have a second? Second to the minutes? Okay, Bob. So moved by Liz, seconded by Bob. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, minutes are moved.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I didn't see you ask for opposition, but could I discuss something?
Well, we're going to come to you in a little bit, and you're going to get to present your document, okay?
No, I'm talking about
about the minutes? Oh,
the
yes,
minutes.
I'm sorry. Go ahead and go ahead. Yes.
In reading the proposed presentation regarding climate environment, I was surprised to read that the motion passed unanimously.
Right.
I did vote to clarify and wordsmith some of the amendments to the various motions, but in no way did I vote to approve the total proposition. And I think that all the wordsmithing and amending and new motions and recanting caused several of us, including, I think, Sharon, a little bit of confusion. She was confused as to whether one of those motions even passed.
Okay.
So I just want to make it clear to all of you that I was trying to be helpful in some of the wordsmithing that goes on.
I understand that.
And that was taken as my approval of the entire present climate environment presentation, and I do not approve of it. So I just want to make that clear.
Tom, I realized that that's what you were doing when you brought this up, and I understand that. Yes, Sharon.
If I got something wrong in the minutes, please let me know. Let's fix it.
Okay. So, Tom, do you want to make a motion so the minutes can be amended?
Well, all I would do would be to add that I didn't get a chance to vote on the entire proposition. We were voting on a whole series of amendments and withdrawing motions and revisions. And I apologize to all of you if I took it that way, because some of you clearly and probably meant that as we went through those motions and approved them to amend things, that was approval of the entire document. So I don't know how to change that.
Yes, Liz.
So if we can form a motion that says, that takes the word out, that just what Tom is saying. So the motion would be to amend the minutes to read that there was a unanimous as we work through sections, period. Not, Tom, does that get it for you? So each time we went through a section, we had agreement.
Yes, Dick and then Bob.
Wouldn't it be simpler if it meets Tom's needs to simply change the total from unanimous to 7-1 or whatever it was, so that
Yes.
recorded that there was an opposition vote to the entire document.
So are you making a
Yeah.
motion to do that?
I will so move.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. So Tom seconds, discussion.
Yes,
Bob,
I thought Tom was saying that we had voted one at a time as we went on, but that we had never voted for the package because he had never had a chance to cast a no vote. It wasn't that we miscounted, it was that we never voted. Is that what you were saying, Tom?
Yeah, and I was hopeful that by putting it on the agenda today, we could indeed vote on the whole package, because I never got clear indication that any one of those votes that we did was for the whole package. And I think Dick is on the right track here.
okay, Dick?
But I would just have to say, Tom, I disagree. I felt when we were through, I thought I was voting on the whole package. So
Okay,
it may have been, there may have been misunderstanding, but that's why I proposed that we simply make it clear that there was an opposition vote.
okay.
Kyle and then Kevin.
I'm wondering if anyone reviewed the entire video recording. I did not. And I mean, it does sound like maybe we missed a full vote, which I think we do want
Right.
at some point.
Okay, Kevin?
I was just gonna say what Dick said, and Tom, I apologize if it wasn't clear, but when I ended that meeting, I thought we had voted on the entire thing. So, which actually goes to your point of maybe there was some confusion there. So I think clarification in the minutes and then clarification today of maybe another vote to just say that will be good.
Okay, Liz?
I'm with Tom. I thought we were doing the vote for the full package today. We still had another day to review. We'd wrap it up, take the vote and be ready.
Yeah, and I didn't. I thought we voted on the whole package.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why when I saw in the minutes that we had, it had passed unanimously, that's what I thought. Okay, Dick?
Well, let's just have Sharon note that there was some confusion about whether we were voting on individual items. I mean, we're back to the original motion, or original proposal, that there was some confusion about whether we were voting on the whole package or just parts of it as we went. And note that there was unanimity on the parts we discussed, but it's unclear. There may have been one opposing vote to the entire package, something like
Okay.
that. Just
Bob?
That's a
And
good
then
idea
three
for the
votes.
minutes, but for going forward, I think that we can take 10 seconds and do and do a confirmation vote, do a vote again to make sure that we have it on the record. Because if somebody goes back and looks at that thing and we never voted on it, you know, that's a problem.
Okay.
That's problematic.
So is everybody in favor of changing the minutes as Dick has proposed and it's been seconded by Bob? Yes? Okay. Kevin, are you in favor? Okay, so that we will amend the minutes to that. Yes, Sharon?
Are you going to do that? Or do you want me to do that?
Yeah, if you will amend the minutes, that would be good. And then we should submit them to Catherine. So then I would like to suggest that as I walk us through the document that you received over the weekend from me, and I tell you where I made some changes or clarifications, and then we vote on that. Then I give you Bill Apple's changes, and we have discussion and see if there's any issues there, and then we vote on that. So then we will basically have achieved 2 votes on the documents, and most of it is, I think, dealing with language and clarification. Does that meet with everyone's approval? Yes, Dick?
how about if any of us have issues we'd like to raise or changes, having had some time to look at that revised version?
Right.
Can we do that after Bill?
Sure, that sounds good. Okay, so Kyle is going to try to pull up my issue document for us. And what I tried to do was take the matrix, and because we didn't fit into the Excel spreadsheet, we're going more for content than format, as I think Dick reminded us was our goal. So I have the issue, and then our proposal, and then we're going to change what we have here for the motion, okay? And we will fill that in later. And then if you go down after the mission, the scope, the description of the Office of Climate and Environment, then you go into the Office of Climate and Environment shall include the following existing San Juan County functions in scope. So it's up above the authorities.
Am I too low?
Let's see, yeah, a little low, you're a little low, so go back up a little bit.
Sorry.
What I want to focus on is the Office of Climate, first page, let's see. A little bit higher, yeah. Okay, so right here, the Office of Climate and Environment shall include the following. I put in here the Community Development Code Enforcement of Code Chapters 1835 Critical Areas and 1850 Shoreline Management Program, because I thought that the way we had it described was too generic, and that we needed, and this was where we wanted to go, that these were the areas that we saw the environment, the Commissioner for Climate and Environment and the office focusing on. And that's something that I really, I needed your approval to do, I believe. Okay. So
I have
that's one
comment.
area. Yeah. Yeah, Rob.
There's a principle in law called, it's not long, it's called expressio unius est exclusio alterius. And what that means is when you express one thing in a list, you are held to having excluded all else. So whenever you make a list like this, you need to be aware that when you want something else to be on the list, someone can come along and say, hey, no, you didn't put it on the list, so it's not included.
Okay.
So maybe another bullet, I don't know what it would say, but because I'm not sure what you're going for here, but something that is all inclusive, although that's always problematic also, but something that gives you a place to expand.
Okay. Let me go down to just right down here. So we have the responsibilities, and under number 2, it says right here, executive, execute and enforce all ordinances and state statutes with respect to climate change, environmental protection, and the mission of the Office of Climate and Environment. The office may adopt rules and orders as permitted under applicable ordinances and statutes. This language is very similar to the language that's in the Snohomish County Charter, the Whatcom, and the Pierce County Charters. So the idea there is that it seemed to me that we weren't really carving out new language for us there. Okay.
I see.
So that's,
and that covers,
another.
Yeah, it kind of covers the thing that was above there. I see what you're saying. I get it. I think that'll work.
Well, and because in our list here, we have many different areas that our commissioner and the office is going to work in. And one of them that we had identified was adopting rules. And it seemed like it was going to be easier to get at the adoption of rules if we used language that was already applicable for executive officers for counties. Moving down this list here, we're going to go down a little bit further. We're going to go down to review and comment on county permits. Now, let's see where that is. Okay, so this area. Review and comment on county permits and the lead agency's determinations of probable significant negative climate or environmental impact under applicable county and state law, including the State Environmental Policy Act. So most of what I heard us talk about was SEPA, and also that we did not want this office to assume all of the review of all the permits. We wanted them to be focused on things that dealt with environmental protection, not whether or not, the fireplace was in the right location. So that's what I was trying to get us into. So we would be looking at what DCD does, and we would be focused on our areas of climate and environmental protection and the SEPA, the state act. So that's what I was seeking clarification on there.
Anne Marie?
Yes, I'm sorry, I can't see everybody.
Yeah, that's why I spoke up. I'm
Sure.
confused. What you were reading was not what was highlighted. So where are we?
So right here where it's yellow. So the legal agency's determinations, and that would be the Department of Community Development. We would be looking at their determinations of significant negative climate and environmental impact under applicable county and state laws, including SEPA.
So another,
Go ahead, Kevin.
Thank
You
you, Madam
guys should
Chair.
just talk because I can't, unless it gets rowdy, I can't really control it.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So Dick, I think what she's saying is that this new department, this new office would review and comment on permits that are being compiled by community development and planning. So the idea was, instead of trying to bring community development and planning into this office, which we have the authority to do, but for a number of reasons, I don't believe makes as much sense. This office would, however, and this goes back to our previous discussion that you and I had with the entire group, where we were talking about the lack of enforcement and so on, but also just some decisions being, going different directions. This office would be able to, in collaboration, I would hope, with the Community Development and Planning Department, review permits and then give the environmental assessment of that permit, and then the Community Development and Planning Department would take that into consideration.
Okay, any other questions on that? Let me see if I can scroll. Okay,
Anne Marie, it's Liz.
yes, Liz.
So here on Lopez, in the past 2 weeks, we had a roughly 20+ acre plot clear cut, just completely down. So is this, where is that protected here in that language, right in that? Is that included or excluded in that?
Yeah, Kevin, you want to go ahead, and then I don't know, Dick, if you, and Kyle has a question as well. Okay, go ahead.
Dick, I'd love you to chime in on this as well, if I'm correct, but clear cutting or forestry practices don't necessarily come under our county community development and planning department. That could have been approved under a state permit. And then I'm not sure what the review is at the local level for that. There is, if there's a stream there, some other things, there's other areas under our local shoreline master program that may come into play. But some of those decisions are done, if they got their state and federal permits, then some of that they can move forward with. Dick, am I correct on that? Or is there just on forestry, is there a local review too? I can't remember.
My understanding is if you say that you're going to convert the property, so you're going to go from forest land to, say, subdivision, it's a class 4 permit.
Yeah,
and DNR doesn't mess with it. If it's a different level of permit, then the county, I believe, unless things have changed, can only comment on it.
Well, we don't, other than in our, what is it, like on Lopez, it's the village, our growth management area. That's
Right,
the only
growth
place you can
management.
have intense growth. So you couldn't take a piece of 20 acre property anywhere on Lopez other than the village and turn it into a subdivision.
But you might be able to turn it into 2 10-acre parcels or 4 or 5 acre parcels, depending on where it is.
Yeah, that I would assume is true. I'm just wondering, because in terms of protecting the overall ecosystem, if we continue to have mass deforestation for large homes, and large lawns, those are the kinds of things that are going to erode the natural system's ability to regenerate itself.
Yeah, and in this case, again, if things haven't changed, I don't think they have. If it's a class 4 permit, then the county is regulating it. DNR washes its hands of it essentially. It says, no, it's a conversion out of forestry. So then it's up to the county to regulate it either under the Shoreline Act or the subdivision code or whatever.
And in the work we're doing, have we augmented the county's ability to work with people prior to that occurring? And if it's appropriate, it's appropriate, but it's, I'm sorry, let me just, is the work we're doing strengthening our county's ability to protect nature in a situation like that?
I'm not sure how to answer that.
I'm sorry, let's say your question again.
Is the work that we've done for the OCE strengthen the county's ability to protect our ecosystem in a situation like that?
I think that, yeah, the short answer is yes. However, this office can only do what it statutorily has the ability to do. And so there's some stuff that, if the state law isn't being enforced, this office could pay attention to that. And hopefully bring more attention to that. We are also talking about this office being more proactive on these issues. However, if that was a legal clear cut, and I will say that, there's a lot of forestry, not a lot, there are forestry practices that happen in our state that have detrimental impacts on watersheds, on erosion, on bluff failures, on ecosystem impacts, and so on, that are permitted. And so if it was permitted, this office, would not be able to stop that impact.
Okay.
If it was legally authorized.
So briefly, two things, and I know we have a lot of work to get done. All of you, I was over on San Juan on Saturday, coming back on the fair. I've not been out in a year plus, and I haven't been to Friday Harbor in probably closer to 2 years. And coming back, noticing the pock marks on orcas, just these massive holes in the forest, was alarming. And especially as the backdrop of, we've lost 2 large portions of acreage here. And so there's the aesthetic of it, which impacts our tourism and the beauty of being here, the draw of being here to live here and tourism, but it also impacts the ground's ability to hold and retain water to resaturate our aquifers. And so if we don't pay attention to those things, and nearby forests, any trees that are cut down, and I'm telling you all things here, but I just want to make sure they're included. When those forests come down, the nearby forests aren't going to do as well. So we had a whole strand of old trees that came down because of a forest that was removed, and the adjoining ones couldn't withstand the winds.
So Liz,
Yeah.
Tom has his hand up, but I just want to draw your attention to the fact that this bullet talks about probable significant negative climate and environmental impact under applicable county and state laws, including the State Environmental Policy Act. So if there is an opportunity for the commissioner and the office to intervene, I would think that they would be there, but they would need to have the opportunity through the county, applicable county or state laws to do that. So Tom, I'm going to turn it over to you.
I just wanted to help Liz a little bit to remind everybody that there is a designation in land use called rural farm forest. And forestry is a permitted use in those areas. And as far as I know, the loggers primarily deal with the state in getting a forest practices permit. And I don't think, unless there's something unusual about that, the county has much say in it.
Okay. Thanks, Tom. Bob?
The first part of the first several words in this section say review and comment on county permits. Okay, so if we're talking about permits that were issued by the state or some such, everything that follows about the lead agency's determination, blah, blah, all of that stuff under these various laws, various areas, it all modifies the county permits. Okay, so if we want at some point to say that we can review and comment upon something else, state permits or whatever, then don't we need to say that? If I heard
I guess
that
we would
was-
have to decide if we wanted to do that.
I thought that's what I was hearing, that we could do that under this. And
Well,
I'm just saying,
as far as I know, any permits that I've gotten, even dock permits, have to go through the county
okay,
as they go to the state and everybody else. They go to the tribes, they go to the state, they go to the Army Corps of Engineers. So, and they go to Fish and Wildlife. So those are all, the first person you go to is the county, and then the county sends those out to the state agencies. So everybody weighs in and the county weighs in. So I have not been involved in the forestry practices, but there are areas in the comprehensive plan which make me think that the forestry stuff also, there's probably an avenue in there, but I am not a planner, I'm just a regular resident. Okay. Yes,
Madam Chair,
Kyle.
is
Yes.
this a place where Mr. Loring can maybe weigh in and help? And I appreciate this, that this will already have been delivered to
Right.
the full commission, but to Liz's question, I think there's some assumptions in the clear cut that it was permitted, that it has all of the right ingredients in the first place, and a lot of what we've talked about so far does not.
Okay.
Some of the code enforcement needs interventional attention because it's not happening. So I think if that's included elsewhere, and we could probably, even after approval, can we not continue to work on this and find places where we want to
That would be
strengthen
my
it?
impression also. And I'm just making a note that Kyle Loring, we would want him to look at this and include, I'm just going to say include clear cut issues. Bob, your hand is up.
I'm sorry, no, take it down.
Okay. Anybody else have a hand up?
I would just say, I think the language here in all probability covers what we want. And I would suggest that we move on with the understanding that we will be able to look at it again.
Okay. And right below that, I combined the county purchases and the fleet as one option, instead of having two separate bullets that say the same thing. Everything else as we go down the rest of this section is the same. And then if we go down to the new section on the commissioner, and we consider the qualifications, we had a lot of discussion, and we stop right here. I'm going to focus on this part here. Shall have been a resident for 3 years, and we had previously said 5. When I looked at the other charter counties, they did not have the same level of requirement as San Juan. In fact, the only place I could find where there was a requirement was in Snohomish County, and that was for 3 years. So in my my desire to be safe, I moved us from 5 to 3. And I don't know that that's acceptable to the group.
I think it's fine.
I do too.
Good
I
with
do
me.
too. I agree.
Okay. And the other areas were just like, if I had just done climate and I had I called the person the climate commissioner, I went back and made sure I made it the climate and environment commissioner. So I'm not sure if at this point you want to see Bill's document to see if we can do the two of them together. Or if you want to go ahead and see if we're, yes, Kevin.
I think for clarity, and I don't know how we do this before this evening, frankly. It'd be good to have a full document that we can look at and say, that's it. And so maybe we need to start from the top and just go through and say, yes, this is it. Yes, this is it. Yes, this is it.
Okay, and you know what? As we do that, I can tell you what Bill was recommending.
There we go.
That works.
Let's
okay?
do that. Let's do that
Okay.
from the top. And then we can all, to Tom's point at the end, say, okay, we're voting on the final document to be presented.
Okay.
And Anne Marie, just for clarity, then are we going to go back and look at Alexandra's recommendations?
No, after this, this is the document that we were working on and I revised for the commission meeting tonight. And we've got the issues on here. And then we're going to hear, after we do this, we're going to hear from Tom
Okay.
with the minority report. And
Excellent.
we will have voted on this. We will understand the minority report. We will have discussion about that. And then depending on what time it is, we'll either go to public comment and then come back and talk about some of the other documents that we received from members of the public if we have time. Okay. So the issue, the Charter Review Commission, this issue was from Shanks, Dellendorf, and Kyle. Davies. So I cut it shorter, and this was our proposal. And we're going to take out this passed unanimously. I don't know if I can do that. I don't think I can do that now, but I've got it scratched out on mine.
You'll make that edit.
Can Kyle, can you remove that or not?
It would be nice to
Oh,
see. the
there,
changes as
there,
we
he's
go.
doing it. Yes,
Yeah,
excellent.
excellent.
Okay,
You could
So
just say
then-
motion passed.
okay, motion passed.
You could just say motion passed with one nay vote. Or just say motion passed.
I thought we were going to vote on this afterwards.
That's right.
So we haven't, we've got the motion, but nothing's passed yet. Okay. Then we're going to go to the climate. The mission of the San Juan County Office of Climate and Environment is to take urgent action to combat climate change and protect the environment. Bill had wanted to say that we weren't taking urgent act, we were facilitating urgent action. And I didn't find that to be what I was supporting. I wasn't facilitating it. Yes, Kevin.
If others are okay, I would put a motion on that we stay with the current language.
Even if you're facilitating, you're still you're taking action by facilitating. So
I second Kevin's motion.
Okay, everybody who's in favor? Let
Aye.
me see if I can see.
Aye.
Let me see. Did I get it? Okay, who's opposed? You may have to tell me you're opposed.
Tom is off screen at the moment.
Tom is off screen. Okay.
Oh.
Oh, we should go back to the document, I think. Tom,
Yeah.
are you, where are
Yeah,
you?
I gotta be clear, I'm opposed.
Okay, you're opposed. Okay, that's cool. We just,
I gotta go make a copy, so I'm gonna disappear for a minute.
okay, no worries.
we'll
Can
take
I
30 votes while you're gone.
We're going
Yeah,
to
I-
sit there, vote is yes if you're away.
Yes, Sharon.
So just to clarify, we were, was 7 in favor and 1 opposed? Is that true? Is that, I'm not sure.
Right,
See
that's
everybody.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, then in the next one, under scope, the San Juan County Office of the Environment shall serve as a branch of San Juan County government. That seems like instead of will, it would become shall.
Yeah, there
is
should
it-
never be will. It should always say shall.
Okay.
if it's for
Yes,
intention.
yes, Bob.
You're maybe confusing may and shall. Shall and will is a grammatical thing. You use shall when you're saying what's going to happen in the future. You use will when you're showing determination.
Okay,
Determine that this is going to happen.
so a lot
so-
of these are going to be the shall and will issue. Okay,
that's if what you're doing is setting up, this is the way it's going to be, it can be will. It's shall if you're just saying, no, we look into the future and that's what
I
shall
think
happen.
that in drafting of, I'm sorry, Madam Chair,
yeah, go for it.
in drafting of legislative policy, or in this case, charter amendments, I think shall is more appropriate. So I would move that wherever we have shall, and he suggested it change, wherever we had will, that we should change it to shall.
Liz,
Does that in any way weaken the document legally?
No, I actually think it strengthens it.
My comment was grammar, had nothing to do with legal.
Okay,
so
okay,
it's
perfect.
Kyle, yes,
Okay,
Kyle,
perfect.
Madam Chair, do you want me to track any of these changes or just wholesale them into the document?
just wholesale them into the
Okay.
document unless we have opposition.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so then,
So there's a motion on the floor to change all the wills to shall.
okay, do we have a second? Sharon is second. Any discussion?
Nope.
Okay, all in favor?
I,
I'm going to abstain. Not
Dick?
seeing it.
Dick, where are you?
I said, I think, can I propose it would be easier in most of these to ask if there are any abstentions and then
Okay.
any nay votes, and
Okay.
that would be a lot easier.
Okay, thank you. So we have shall here. We go down to the next one and we have will work and it will be changed to shall work.
and just for the record, the motion passed.
Thank
With
you.
one abstention.
With one abstention. I don't, Tom was not there,
You
so
mark Tom as an absent,
absent, okay.
I came back, but I didn't hear the
Oh, the
request
motion
for
was,
for no votes, so I voted no.
Okay, that's fine. So
I'm
one
sorry.
no,
Please
one
clarify the vote for me.
one no, one abstention.
I'm going to have to change. I'm sorry. My sophomore grammar teacher would not let me let this pass. I'm going to abstain. So take that away.
Okay.
It still passes.
Okay. Okay, and we're going to move down now to responsibilities and authority of the office.
I'm sorry. I need to do this one more time.
Sure, Sharon, go for it.
Five yeses, 2 abstentions,
And one no.
and 1 no. Is that all of us?
Yes.
Because we had an
are
absent.
8,
Tom was away from
but
his.
Tom said he voted no because he
Okay,
didn't know
so
what we were voting on.
5 yeses, 2 abstentions, 1 no. Thank you.
Yes,
And Sharon, we appreciate what you're doing, so interrupt. for
please, thank
clarity.
you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, under responsibilities, as we scroll down here a little bit, and Kyle, thank you so much for helping with this.
I'm just reading, we were gonna go line kind of paragraph by paragraph. Are we doing corrections and editorial changes? Are
Oh,
we
you're
moving too
right.
fast? Are we doing okay?
Is this,
We're going to
yes,
do bills.
Kyle made a good point, which was we were going to go through and see if everyone was okay with what we were doing. As we come down here,
We're not far.
we're not far. This is the Community Development Enforcement Code of Chapters 1835 Critical Areas and 1850 Shoreline Protection. This was a change that I made to clarify where we would actually be doing our work.
Kyle,
Is
would
that-
you scroll up just a little bit for those of us on smaller screens?
Sure.
No, the other way,
We'll scroll up. Got it.
yes. To
So
show
we're
that.
right in here. Let me show you where we are.
Yes,
We're looking at this guy right here.
Wait a minute.
And this was the one where Bob said, when we say this is what we're doing, we're limiting other areas of opportunity. I'm paraphrasing.
Right. But then you commented that that was covered by a section down below that subsumed really everything. And I thought my own, given my own comment, I don't have a problem now
Okay.
with that.
Okay. Do we have anybody opposed to this language? Just scroll here. Give me a second.
You know what you could do? You could say the Office of the Climate and Environment shall include but not be limited to the following existing functions.
There you go.
Yeah.
Kyle, you had your hand up.
I'm just wondering if all of the Environmental Resource Division pieces are included, or if you want to say something similar to. I can't remember from the chart. I think it's
I
implied,
think
but I don't know.
this should be everybody.
I think it's important in this section to be prescriptive. And so I think what we have to Kyle, it does include everybody in that department. And I think it's appropriate to list them.
And I think that they are listed. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I think the way it is good.
Okay. So is anyone opposed to this section?
Yeah, I have to vote no.
Okay, that's okay. Are there any abstentions? Okay, so I'm assuming with the one negative vote, we have 7 accepting that responsibility, that page. Okay, so then we're going to go back a little bit up here.
Can I ask a question?
Sure thing.
What would you say? What would you say is the on that language?
What would we say? What?
What is the name of that vote that we just took? We took a vote to approve what language would you say?
Inclusion of the chapters.
Inclusion of the chapters and the function and scope.
Thank you.
Could you roll back up just to the top of that thing? What?
More?
No, that's it. That's it. Shall include. Okay, thank you. That's all I need.
Okay, then we get into responsibilities and authorities of the office. Okay, so the beginning of this, Bill has said the Office of Climate and Environment shall be responsible. We had is responsible. So he's got shall be.
Did he give an explanation?
I
No, he just says,
It doesn't have to. It doesn't exist right now. So we're
Yeah.
saying shall be responsible when it's created
okay.
by the voters.
And then if you drop down to here, he
Can't tell
says,
where you,
pardon me?
Where's here?
Madam Chair, I can't tell where here
Okay,
is on
no,
your
no,
computer.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna get us a little closer. So if we go back up to the responsibilities. Okay, right there. So it's gonna be shall be right here. The Office of Climate and Environment shall be responsible.
And I think just to clarify to Bob's point, I think I would guess that the point that was being made by the proponent of this change is that this is what will happen if this is adopted.
Yes.
So language. And then also, Liz, to the conversation we had earlier, shall is the typical language that you would see in statute to dictate that somebody has the authority to do something or that they will do it.
And then here, where Kyle is putting in shall, Dick just makes it this work, or Bill, I'm sorry, makes it this work includes, not shall. It just, he says includes, and then the identification. So we make that a plural right here on includes.
Do we need to talk about it? You want me to just make the corrections as we go unless there's
Opposition,
there's
yes. I'm sorry, Sharon.
pushback?
Yeah, are you ready for me?
Yeah, go ahead. What were you
I
going to
have a
say?
copy of my
Where we
latest
see-
thing. So.
The
Where-
who's unmuted there? Where we say in the second line of preserving the extraordinary treasure of natural beauty and abundance, I think it's unclear what we mean by abundance, and I wonder if we might be able to say natural beauty, wildlife, and then maybe clarify what abundance means there.
I want to weigh in and say I had a note on the same thing. I am really opposed to kind of flowery, non-specific language in here. I think this thing needs to be very business-like.
Okay,
I don't like that.
okay. So what do you want to change it to?
What are we saying? Environment should be responsible for preserving the extraordinary treasure. I would, if we're going to add something, I would say natural beauty and the natural beauty and environment of San Juan County.
Okay, so instead of abundance, we would have environment.
That's my suggestion.
And we understand that to include all the
All the
wild.
wildlife and the trees,
implicit.
and
Yeah,
the clean
environment.
air and the water.
Do we also want to say anything about cultural history here?
I wouldn't.
Okay.
So
We talk about resources, natural systems.
And
And then-
I had a comment on that earlier section.
Okay, yeah, sure, go ahead, Liz.
So I wondered if that phrase, their extraordinary treasure of the natural world.
Well, it's specific to San Juan County, so
I'm not changing that part of it. I'm just saying to the natural world of San Juan County. One of the things that's changing in the language as it evolves globally around our altering relationship with nature is that the word environment is interpreted as something out there. The word of nature is that, you know, we are intrinsically part of, we're not separate from. And so any harm to, you know, nature as we think of it is harm to us. And we cannot harm nature without harming ourselves. It's a delayed reaction, and the impact is felt dependent on your socioeconomic status.
But I think, Liz, that's true of the term environment as well. I mean, the environment does include us, and it's a more, to me, my mind, it's a more commonly used term.
And Dick, I was just reporting on what's happening in the, you know, the global change, you know, the UN, what's that other organization? I'm sorry, I'm blanking on it. Anyway, people who immerse themselves in this for years on end, that's one of the shifts that's making that environment. It keeps it as a separate.
Right, and I've been really conscious of the fact that it's really important for us to be able to communicate to the entire population of San Juan County in this document. So I worked as a public relations person for Georgetown Law Center and for Defenders of Wildlife. And I was forever hammering those folks about, you know, you've got to make this so the average Joe reads it. My mom's from Philadelphia. She's got to understand what you're talking about, you know? So that's kind of where I come from. But go ahead, Sharon.
I agree with Liz, but I don't necessarily agree with that particular language change. Let me make a suggestion, see how this lands, because I also want to get us to really see ourselves as part of the natural environment that we are part of and we impact. So maybe we could say, we don't even have to really say natural beauty, but I like that, natural beauty and our natural and the natural ecosystems of which we are a part.
I think we're getting too wordsmithy. I think
Yes, I do
basically
too. This is going to be
natural
incredibly
beauty and
difficult.
environment is it's legally, people understand it, and more important, or I mean legally, like as far as what the meaning is understood, but more importantly, anybody reading this will to Anne Marie's point, it's just simple.
Yes, I agree.
Yes, Bob, go ahead.
What if we struck everything after preserving and put in there preserving the environment of which we are all a part?
I just think the way it was suggested.
Too much?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so.
So what?
I have a friendly, Bob, did I interrupt you?
Sharon has her
No,
hand
go
up.
ahead. Go ahead.
Sharon, go ahead. And then Liz.
Yeah, I just want to say, you know, in a lot of cases, I would agree with that. But since we are making dramatic changes in this charter, and we're trying to be really prescriptive, I think in one place or another, we should have this language of the natural ecosystems of which we are a part. We really do want to create that consciousness. And I agree that just saying environment doesn't necessarily do that. I wish it would, but I'm not confident that it does.
Liz, you wanted to say something else.
I was just going to offer a friendly amendment to what Sharon had proposed so that it might possibly say, or extraordinary treasure of natural beauty. So the natural ecosystem of San Juan County. So just take out the of which we are part there, but I like what she's saying about get those words in there somewhere. And Kyle, I wanted to acknowledge, I appreciate you making modifications as we go, because that at least allowing me to go, oh, okay, there it looks that way. And so I know it's tedious, but thank you.
And
So
see, I would Go
If we
ahead. I'm
finish
sorry.
with that section, and we can vote on that in a few seconds.
I think we should. oh, Dick, you
Hold on for a minute. Bill is proposing that after the word adverse impacts here, he has reversal or remediation of detrimental actions.
Where?
Right
I-
here where he's
Oh.
putting it in, remediation.
What did we do with the one we were
But up
just?
above.
Madam
Well,
Chair,
this is a whole paragraph, so I'm gonna put all of it
Okay.
in there together and we can vote on it,
Okay,
okay? Because I can't go line by line. I will still be here tomorrow morning, and I can't be here tomorrow morning. So I got to keep moving us forward here, guys. This is just, it's a bit much. So I'm trying to be cool. As you can see, I'm kind of losing it.
uh-huh.
You're doing great. Hang in there.
Okay.
Carl, can you move your cursor? So there, thank you.
And then down here, he adds responsibilities
We don't know it down here.
in addition to the responsibilities of the existing, and Bill adds, in addition to the responsibilities of functions listed above. So he takes out all of this.
Functions can't have responsibilities.
Okay. So I think we just ruled that one out.
Madam-
Okay, guys, top of the paragraph. Where are we?
Madam Chair,
Yes,
Yeah,
Kevin?
sorry, Kevin.
just for flow, saying natural beauty, natural ecosystems doesn't work. Sorry, but I would be okay with. I actually still like natural beauty and environment because it's simple. Just, I think, guys, I think we are overthinking all of this.
Yes,
Going to be more wordsmithing as this goes forward. This still has to be approved by the full commission. But on this sort of stuff, we're too close to it. And Liz and Sharon, I fully not just appreciate, agree with the points you're making. However, this document has got to get out there, and we're overthinking it. So I would rather go with natural beauty and environment, because I think just my buddy who's the butcher here in the market, she would read that and go, okay, I get that. But if we have to include more, I would say natural beauty and environmental ecosystem or something like that, because you can't say natural and natural twice in the same sentence like that.
Okay, Dick?
Anne Marie.
Yeah.
I would go even simpler. I mean, again, I don't want what I regard as florid language. I would just say extraordinary treasure, get rid of treasure, extraordinary natural beauty and environment of San Juan County, period.
Okay.
Clean and simple.
Perfect.
Okay, Sharon, you wanted to say something?
I still prefer the word ecosystem to environment. You could say natural beauty and ecosystem. I have a feeling I'm going to lose this, but I'm just got to say it.
I'm going to say, let's put it to a vote. I'm going to move that we change it to say
Dick,
preserving.
can you say that one more time?
I'm sorry, what?
Can you
Could you just,
repeat?
you're about to, just repeat what you said earlier.
I'm going to. I'm moving that we change the language to preserving the extraordinary natural beauty and environment of San Juan County.
I second that.
Okay. Do we have anyone opposed?
Yeah, I have to vote no.
Okay,
But say the language one more time, please.
okay, you're going to be able to read it in a second. So the sentence would read, the Office of Climate and Environment shall be responsible for preserving the extraordinary natural beauty and environment of San Juan County, Washington, while boldly addressing climate change.
That's my motion.
And I seconded it.
Okay, so it's seconded. And do we have any more discussion? Sharon, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I know that the motion is on the floor. Have we discussed saying responsible for protecting and preserving?
I think the way it's written, that is implied. Oh, you're saying protect and preserve. Would you be so are you putting that out as a friendly amendment?
Yes.
So the
I'd
maker of the
accept
motion,
it. I'd accept it.
Protecting and preserving the
And the second
extraordinary
motion.
natural beauty and environment of San Juan County, Washington, while boldly addressing climate change. Okay? Any more
Call for
discussion?
question.
Okay, so we know Tom is opposed. Is anyone abstaining? Abstentions? You got to speak up because I can't see everybody. Okay, so that means we've got 7 people that support that. Okay.
I
And
think,
moving down here, we've got Bill Apples. This work will include the identification of values, resources, and natural systems at risk, and the prioritization and prevention of adverse impact. Reversal, and then Bill wants to add, or remediation. So that's the additional word, of detrimental actions. And then the rest of the sentence is, and the application of preservation strategies in addition to the responsibilities of the existing San Juan County functions listed above, the Office of Climate and Environment authorities and responsibilities shall include. So the question on the table is, are we accepting Bill Apple's insertion of or remediation, reversal or remediation of detrimental actions? Yes,
I would,
Bob.
I would not say reversal or remediation. I would either say stick with reversal, which I think I favor, or I would say take reversal out and put remediation in. When you say reversal or remediation, you're saying we're either going to do this right or we're going to do it half-ass. You know, that's kind of what we're saying. Excuse the language.
Okay, Dick?
well, I was going to propose that I don't have strong feelings about it, but I was going to propose that we accept it because reversal is very often not possible, but remediation is. And so I don't have a problem with saying both.
Okay, Kevin, you've got your hand up and I'm going to scroll so I can see if anybody else does.
I agree with Dick's point, and it's important to point out that unfortunately, I mean, we would love to reverse all human impacts on the environment. It's not going to happen, and so
Right.
remediation legally happens. And so, I actually think Bill makes a good point. And when we're prepared, Madam Chair, I put a motion as such.
Okay, do we have more discussion on this or are we good to go? Okay, so we got a motion on the table. Oh, Liz, you had your hand up?
I was just gonna say, I'm in favor of taking out reversal and just having it remediation to have that be stronger.
I would argue that that's less strong.
Okay, yeah, if you're not going to reverse it and you just remediate, that's like giving everybody a little bit of a lift that has caused the problem. So
Madam Chair, I would move that we include or remediation as Bill has suggested.
okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Second,
Okay, who's opposed?
Suppose.
Tom's opposed. Any abstentions? Hearing none. Okay, so we've got 7 in favor, 1 opposed. Okay, moving down. These are the rest of the responsibilities. This is the language that the office may adopt rules and orders as permitted under applicable ordinances and statutes. Then we go on to, we may be able to, let's see. Do we need to take this bullet point by bullet point or are we okay? We've kind of talked quite a bit about this. Let me see if anybody has a hand up. Okay,
Well,
yes, Bob.
if we're on the section that is showing here, I can't see what's below, but
Okay.
as far as draft ordinances,
Yeah,
I think that the commissioner ought to draft ordinances that affect a broader range of what we're talking about than just this county resolution number 2020. Okay.
Well, above it, it also says execute and enforce all. Okay.
Right. I'm talking specifically about drafting proposed ordinances.
Go down the
Let me
next.
see, I think we have it again in here.
The next one says review proposed ordinances. That's a
Oh.
different thing. That's looking
Okay.
at what someone else has come up with. I'm talking about initiating proposed ordinances. It ought to be broader than just that one
Okay,
section.
so I think one of the issues,
I'm not saying take that part out. I'm
right,
saying
I
add, expand it.
Yeah, so one of the things was, this is one that's on the table. But yeah, should be other ordinances that the county council has put forward.
Well, no,
Go ahead, Kevin.
thank you. I think Bob's actually making a good point. And the way I understand it, Bob, if I'm correct, is you're saying, yes, they should draft ordinances associated with that climate resolution, but we're talking about shorelines, we're talking about the environment, ecosystem health.
There you go.
And so the language, maybe, I don't know if it's another bullet point, so I'm going to try and do this off the top of my head, but it should be draft ordinances for San Juan County Council consideration that protect, it's basically going back to the mission. It's going back to the mission. So
This is good. You're heading the right direction.
draft ordinances for San Juan County Council consideration that, what did we say up above on the mission? That
Combat climate change and protect the environment.
Bingo.
there,
Bingo.
there you
All
go.
that-
Then you can delete the previous bullet point.
So we would take out the resolution 2020.
I think you could, because that would be subsumed under this one.
Okay,
Exactly.
okay.
Do we
Okay,
need to- Can I remove it or?
yes, let's remove it. Do we have anybody opposed to that?
Yeah,
Tom,
I gotta be
Tom is
opposed.
opposed. Anybody abstaining?
Thank you, Kevin.
Okay, moving right along.
Can I get the who made the motion and who seconded on that?
I made the motion.
I
Kevin made
seconded
the
it.
motion and Bob second.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, moving down here. So
This-
we're looking at review proposals. So that's, I asked, and Tom is opposed, everybody else is supportive. Review proposed ordinances for climate impact, yeah, prior to San Juan County Council action. Okay, that seems to go right in there. Then we have the Coastal Salish tribes. We're working in coordination with them to develop policies.
What is this right here? Do you recall what that was supposed to say?
Develop policies,
In to ensure.
let's see, let me see what
In
that's.
order to,
Take off in, take out in. Or it could be in order to, yeah. Just more words.
I had a note I had written on the Coast Salish piece there.
Yeah, I'm looking for it too.
That, yeah, I sent it. Yeah, so
It
let
was-
me,
Draft policies, and then it has in there to ensure identification and protection.
It could
So I
be
think
draft
that in
policies,
is just redundant.
right?
We
Thank
don't
you,
need that
Kyle.
in. I think we can just take that word in out. So to draft, develop policies to ensure.
You also could say draft policies identifying and protecting cultural resources.
yeah,
That's a little bit.
I'm
a little
sorry,
bit
I'm trying to
short.
look at my notes now versus we're under the Department Responsibilities and Authority, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And what Bill had here was consult and cooperate with coastal Salish tribes,
It's
develop,
It's Coast Salish.
Yes, I'm sorry. That was my mistake.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure we didn't write it that way. Sorry.
He was saying consult and cooperate instead of indirect cooperation.
We could also just say through consultation with Coast Salish tribes, draft policy.
I like that better.
Yeah.
That kind of language better.
So it just, the sentence starts through consultation with Coast Salish tribes, comma, draft policies to ensure.
I don't know if we would have a comma there, would we?
You wouldn't have a comma there, but you would after tribes.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
Okay.
Through consultation with Coast Salish tribes, comma, draft policies.
And then the next one.
Well, so you're saying draft instead of develop. Is that intentional? Is that what you were trying to do, Kevin?
Yeah.
You want to draft them versus develop?
I like that better.
Draft instead of develop?
Mhm.
Okay,
Madam Chair, I have a quick, I think it's a quick point.
sure.
So in a meeting in the Justice and Equity meeting on Monday, we had a conversation with Sam Barr from the Samish tribe. And you could do this later, but any place in that discussion, the question came up. So Coast Salish is a language reference, not necessarily a inclusive tribal reference. And I don't have the language right now, but I would like to, we will on the Justice and Equity front, we will be working on language that says something to the effect of indigenous tribes with ancestral presence or ancestral connection to the San Juan Islands, something in San Juan County, something to that effect. So it's a little bit, so it's, it's corrected
Broader.
in a little bit more.
Right. Okay,
I'll give you that language later. We don't have
Right.
to spend time now.
okay,
Do we like this enough to take this away?
yes.
I do think that on the next, it was suggested, somebody sent us comments, but I actually like the suggestion. It was everywhere it says review in the next bullet points, we make review and submit. So instead of just review county purchases, it would say review and submit comments on.
Comments plural.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
so here. Review county purchases and submit comments.
Review and submit comments on. So just everywhere it says review in the next, what is that, 4 bullet points, I think.
Okay,
It says review and submit comments on.
okay. Okay,
Although I think it's implied.
right.
We're reviewing, we're submitting comments, but
I think it's important to put it in there.
Yeah, it seems pretty
We
simple.
want that positive action, not just, oh, okay, file it away.
Have I been capturing all the wills to shall? I've been looking, I think so.
Yes, I don't have any more in this section.
Okay.
And then we're at enter into agreements with other jurisdictions to advance the mission. Develop and sign contracts for mission relevant services. Contribute to the county plans that advance the mission of the office. Cooperate with the county Department of Emergency Management during disaster situations.
Extra space in there.
Yeah, influence, educate, and advocate for the mission of the office and participate in key discussions. Yeah. At the county, state, and federal level, including relevant advisory boards and commissions. Lobby at the state and national legislative level for climate and environmental protections. Aggressively
I
seek,
feel I'm a little, can we,
where do you want to stop?
yeah, lobby at the state and federal. So
Well, okay,
advocate
what's
for the
your
mentioned
concern?
in key discussions at the county state. I don't know if you need that second bullet point, lobby at. I think lobby raises negative connotations, and the first one, influence, educate, and advocate for, is the same thing. Or not the
Because
same
we've got them at the county, state, and federal level. Yeah, I think you're right.
So I would delete the lobby sentence.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I was a registered lobbyist for a while. I didn't like it.
We're
Yeah.
deleting you, Bob.
We're deleting that.
I also have actually read Randy's memo to us that he sent.
And I have read it also.
And he had some concerns there too. Although what was interesting is he said that is solely a function for the county council. However, he and almost every other elected official
Official
came
does
down
this.
to Olympia and lobbied me directly while they were in office. So,
Right.
so if it is solely a county council function, not one elected official, including his office, has been obeying that, which I will point out. So,
Okay, yeah, let's not go to the prosecuting attorney right now because we really
Oh.
need to get through this
Yeah.
document. Yes,
Sorry.
Liz, you have your hand up?
Quickly, can someone remind me, is this the only language in our document where he's talking about educating and working with the public? Or there are others I've,
We have the advisory council in here.
okay,
So,
I
and
just-
that's coming up soon.
okay. I'll wait for my comment then.
Okay,
Well,
so we've got aggressively seek financial support for existing and new projects to advance climate action and environmental protection. Then we've got
Madam-
acceptance of foundation grants. Yes,
I-
Bob?
I don't think
I would just, if we could just back up too, if we could just add where you've got the influence in educating, the last phrase, including relevant advisory boards. Could we say including relevant legislatures, comma, advisory boards, comma, and commissions? I want them to not shy away from legislatures.
where are you saying what?
The influence and
the-
educate portion, right? I'm just saying, including relevant legislative bodies. That's fine. Legislative bodies, advisory boards, and commissions.
I think that's implied and it's,
No,
yeah.
we shouldn't imply it. We should put it down in black and white. Those are, in my view, those are at least as important as advisory boards and commissions.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not going to fall on that sword. Okay.
Bob,
So
where it says county, state, and federal, that's not the strength of it there?
No.
it would seem that way to me, but let's just go, if it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm assuming
Yeah.
that Tom is not going to be supportive of that no matter what. So I'm just going to assume that, Tom. Is that okay?
That's fine. I won't know.
Okay. Okay, so is everybody else okay with that language, or do we want? So
Yeah, that's
far,
fine.
we don't have any opposition to these.
Right.
Okay. Then we're into aggressively seek financial support for existing and new programs.
Can I ask a question? I'm sorry. I'm not sure if, like, some things we're voting on and some things we're not, and some
Well,
things.
I'm going to come back and ask if everybody's supportive of what we've just been through. I was trying to do the whole document, this whole functions. Is that what it's called?
Okay, I'm just not sure what I should be recording votes on and what don't need
Well,
to be.
we're going to
recorded.
do it in a minute here. We're doing the responsibilities and authorities of the office. And we've got all of these bullets. At one point I thought there were 19, but maybe I'm wrong. So
Yes,
it's like
Madam
if we
Chair.
could just move forward on that. Yeah.
Yes, so
Yes.
you're suggesting that we, at the end, vote for all of these amendments at once as a package for these bullet points. I
Right.
think that makes sense. The other thing is
Yes.
for clarification for people watching now or in the future, this full document, after it's approved and voted upon, will then be made available, so everybody will know what the finals were as well.
Right.
So I have a suggestion for the last bullet point, aggressively seek financial.
Uh-huh.
I think that you don't need to say aggressively. I think you just say seek financial support for existing new projects.
Pursue.
That's good. Yeah.
If you use,
Or pursue, whoever said that, was that you, Kyle? I think pursue is even better.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like that.
Fine.
And then we want to be able to accept the gifts when we get them.
To financial support.
well, wouldn't wouldn't it make sense to combine those two and say pursue and accept?
Then you'd say financial support
Yeah, just
You'd say pursue,
from, okay.
you could, sorry, Bob.
I was just going to say, do you want to lose or do you want to include foundation and donor contributions in that upper one? So it would be from, and then you'd want to put and other sources, wouldn't you?
Yes, so you could pursue and accept.
You would say, I would, Madam Chair,
Yes,
language that I'm familiar with in situations like this would say pursue and secure
okay,
financial support and existing and new. I don't know if you need to say,
projects, but
I don't know if you need to say projects, because that limits it to projects. You could say pursue and secure financial support to advance the office's mission.
sure.
yeah, sounds good.
The entire rest of the sentence, it's just pursue and secure financial support to advance the office's mission.
Do you want to make it pursue and secure financial support from foundations, donors, and other sources to
No.
advance?
Nope.
No.
There's regulations on who we can and who we can't accept money from. It's pretty broad, but that's not within this department's jurisdiction.
Okay,
So I think we just say pursue and secure financial support to advance the office's mission. Or I would say to advance the mission of the office of, and list it, sorry, to be wordy there, but I think that makes sense.
Yeah,
So it would be,
Pursue and secure financial support to advance the mission of the Office of Climate and Environment, period. And then you can delete the next one that says accept.
because Randy said that's not our jurisdiction.
Well, I
plus
don't-
secure, does it?
Oh, I got
Secure-
you.
Yeah, and
Okay,
yeah,
got it. Okay.
good.
Then we're providing education and outreach in concert with San Juan County community organizations.
And Marie, I had a comment about that last one, sorry.
Sure thing, go for it.
Does that in any way leave that office dangling in terms of ongoing county support?
No,
Okay, no,
almost every department secures grants, and particularly as we found, the existing environmental resources department, which this new office would include, is almost entirely grant funded.
okay, done and done. I just want to make sure it didn't cut off one source. So that's it. Moving on.
Okay. Sharon's doing the same thing as me. I was just counting the number that we had in there.
If you change it to bullets, to numbers instead of bullets, it'll number them for you.
Right. So we have 16 bullets. Do we have a motion to accept the 16 bullets?
Oh, got it.
so moved.
That's two for each of us. Bang,
I'll
bang.
second it. I'll second.
Hold on.
Okay, Liz.
Under discussion.
Okay, under discussion. Go.
Wait, I'm sorry, moved by Dick and seconded by Liz? Is that right?
Dick,
That's what
did
I
you
heard.
move it?
I did.
Okay, so Dick moved, Liz seconded. Okay, we're into discussion.
Do you have the adopt rules in there?
The adopt rules is, let's see, where is that? That's in the very beginning.
I think it
Where it
needs to
says-
be here. The
it
same
says-
language I think needs to be within this section because this is
It's
talking.
in the very beginning of the section.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Under
Where?
responsibilities and authorities, if you go to the, here it is right here. Execute and enforce all ordinance and state statutes with respect to climate change, environmental protection, and the mission of the office. The office may adopt rules and orders as permitted under applicable ordinances and statutes. And that's the language that is from the other charter counties.
Thank
And,
you.
these bullet points are, quote, in addition.
Yes. Okay, more discussion. Let me hit my,
Sorry, I'd forgotten that, Madam Chair.
no, that's okay. We
Can we
talked
call the
about it a
question?
while ago.
No discussion, call the question.
Call the question. Okay, the question's called. Let's have a vote. All
And-
those in favor? Thumbs up.
Madam Chair, just clarify the question. The question is to adopt all of these bullets, the whatever the title of this section is, as amended,
Right, responsibilities and authorities of the office,
as just amended.
as
Okay.
amended. Okay. We got everybody in. Tom is, yeah, Tom is our, he's a no vote.
Yeah, Tom is no.
It's okay. Kyle, did you have a question? Or are you good?
Do you want authorities plural or authority? Did we discuss that last time?
Where?
In the
Where?
headline. Is it one, is it, we've
Which
got
is-
more responsibilities. Is authority plural?
Responsibility.
I don't
Yeah.
think so. It is?
No, I would say,
Responsibility and authority to the responsibilities and authority
I think authority is
singular.
singular. Your authority comes from someplace.
Okay,
When you say authorities, you're talking about sources
okay.
of information.
Moving right along. So we got that went out. We got 7 yeses, 1 no on the authorities and responsibilities. New section about the commission. Okay,
The
so
commissioner.
let's look at that. Yes. We have the San Juan County Commissioner. We've got their leadership. We haven't made any changes to that. Then we have the next paragraph that says, in addition to managing and administering the office, the commissioner, we have play an active role, and Bill thought it should just be active in conceptualizing.
I prefer the original language.
Okay,
I do too.
okay, so let's let it stay. We got 2 on that. Then, and we're going to do all of this in one, okay, if that's all right with everybody, because this is just one section, so we'll vote on this one section. Then we go to the commissioner's qualifications. Okay, and Bill suggested that instead of shall and should, it should be must have been a resident, must exhibit, and must have a minimum. And also in this first line, must have been a resident of San Juan County, Washington. I changed this to 3 years based on the other charter counties. So that's something that I want to bring up again and make sure we're all on board with that. And then we have must exhibit an education and must have a minimum of 5 years. Comments? Bob?
I would say to qualify to run for and hold the position, because it is possible. What do we do, by the way, here, if in between elections, a person leaves office? Does the council appoint somebody until the next election, or is there a special election and no commissioner in the meantime?
Well, you know, I'll have to go back and look at the actual language. Kevin may know. Go ahead, Kevin.
I'm fairly certain that that is all defined in state statute. And so if there's a vacancy in an office like the prosecuting attorney, I think the governor appoints. If there's a
Right.
vacancy in the county council, the governor appoints. This would be the same as if there was a vacancy in like the auditor or something. And I can't remember, but I think the governor may appoint that too.
Not the council.
But
But
it seems
whenever-
like we
whenever
would want it,
whenever
we
it
would
is-
want it to be consistent
Yeah.
with what the other elected, what happens with the other elected.
Okay, so the point is somebody would be appointed, and so you need to put to qualify to run and hold run.
Are you in the first bullet
hold.
or where are you?
In the introductory section?
So Bob,
You got to put that in there.
no, I don't. I think it is defined already in state statute, and whatever it is, it is. So if there's qualifications for another elected office right now, then during the appointment, that would be considered. I don't think you need to reference appointment in this.
No, I'm not suggesting referencing appointment. I'm just saying change it to qualify to run or hold the position. Run for or hold the position. Okay,
Okay.
that would cover the whole thing without having to say it.
Okay.
All the other words.
So it should say, in order to help ensure that the qualified person is elected.
Take out the second 4. Yeah, there you go.
That's just blood sugar talking.
Okay. Then do we want to say must have been a resident? Must be a resident?
I like the original.
I like the original, but would like to hear other people's.
No,
opinion on this.
If you put must have been a resident for 3 years, he could move to New York City for
Come
20
back.
years and come back. You got to, if
Well,
you
what
want
is,
to be present.
how is shall have been a resident any different? It should be shall be or must be. Not have been. Right? Oh,
Hmm.
but then we have for the preceding 3 years.
I
If
actually
you put,
like,
yeah, if you put the preceding or the immediately preceding 3 years, you've got it covered.
Dick, did you want to say something?
well, I started to say, I like Bill's suggestion of must have, but I'm wondering if Kevin has any observation based on his experience in the legislature about choice of words,
I think it's fine
As shall.
which,
with what Bob's saying.
no, I'm talking about must have versus shall.
I think you said say shall.
Okay,
Sorry. It
I
should say,
think that the distinction you're talking about is shall and may. One of them is determinative and the other one's,
okay.
maybe.
Okay, what about should exhibit or must exhibit?
That is a
Henry-
difference.
Just a second, hold on for a second. So should exhibit or must?
Anne
That's a-
Marie,
Yes, Liz?
I'm in favor of whatever, in that instance where we don't want to lose a great candidate. We want to put out there what, we're looking for and is important, but doesn't rule out that exceptional candidate that for whatever reason doesn't meet that.
The problem I see with should is basically it means you don't have to meet either of those requirements.
Yes.
That's when I saw that, that's what I thought too. I thought as a human resource person, if you're looking at this, should, but it doesn't have to.
Yeah,
Right.
it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
If you,
so
if you
should
mean
be-
it to, right, right.
I think must is where we need to be.
But we're stepping over that conversation that has become referred to as the hairdresser.
Hmm.
And so I just want
Yeah.
to make sure that we don't land there, that we remain clear about criteria. And if an exceptional person comes along,
Well, and I'm also thinking about another county that made their planning director an elected position. And they got someone that was not an environmental and climate protection person.
oh,
So that's why should is kind of mushy.
And also there's
Yeah.
something about this position where maybe the hairdresser will work in another position, but the hairdresser, in my opinion, is
Wouldn't
not going to work in
qualify.
this position.
I don't know, that
Yeah.
position that Kevin spoke of.
She
sure,
was a legislator from
Yeah.
Stanwood, I believe.
Yeah,
And so she would have had a pretty broad scope when she went in. And through committee and things, she would have learned a great deal. I also worked with her and I respect her.
yeah.
Mhm.
But she had an opportunity to learn some things along the way. Just like
In-
if somebody came in as a county council member, they're going to learn a lot and they might ultimately qualify for this position, but at the outset, they may not.
So
Kevin,
does,
my-
Kevin has his hand up.
Kevin
can't see him.
and Dick and
so
Liz.
I think it's really important to recognize that. So this language, at least when I first saw it, there were some discussions with people commenting and a couple meetings I was privy, or conversations I was privy to, where people were saying they were very concerned that with an elected official, you could get somebody who was not pro-environment in this position. And so this language is trying to address that. The thing that I think is very important for us to keep in mind at all times is one of the greatest strengths this individual is going to have is not their professional experience in the environment. It's their ability to inspire their team and work in a team manner to really advance things and get the best out of the people they're working with, and B, advocate for the environment for San Juan County. And that's going to take on a lot of different roles. But you could have somebody who had been I'm just making this up, a talk show host, and their greatest strength is their ability to build relationships and be an advocate. And they're going to be a hell of the right person for this position. The issue is that we're really trying to get at in this is not necessarily their professional experience being pigeonholed in one sector. It's their passion. We need them to be passionate about the environment. And there's no way to really gauge that through qualifications within voting anyway. You could do that if you were hiring somebody, but not within voting. So part of it, you are taking a risk, but I just want to point out that I'll go with must because it starts to get there. But the real test is going to be that they're really passionate about the environment and they're not in there to kill the idea.
I'm going to make a motion that we change it to must, and in the third bullet, we change 5 years to 3 years, because that's not such an onerous demand. But to my mind, we want this person to have that background.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I would agree.
I think I was next up here from the line.
Go
Yes,
ahead.
go,
Go
Liz.
ahead.
So does it work in the second bullet, excuse me, if we include education or life experience relevant to? So it's not just that they have to have, degrees, schooling, that life experience would qualify.
Well, life experiences is education.
Okay, I just wanted to see if that's the interpretation.
This was addressed before last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago.
Yes, Bob.
I believe if you want life experience in there, you ought to put it in there. And I think she's made a good point. I would like to see an education or life experience relevant.
Okay,
to that.
Sharon has her hand up.
Yeah, I've been doing climate change education for 22 years. I don't have a degree. I don't have a degree in environmental science. I thought about getting one and talked myself out of it. So I just do the work and I educate myself.
Okay. Okay.
And Sharon, I would actually think I think if you say life experience, again, this goes back to a previous conversation we had. So my first point I was going to say is, Sharon, if I were on a panel that was reviewing you for something, I would say she has the education because she has 22 years doing it. That's education. Life experience, I think, I will say that I really, for the reasons that Liz first pointed out, like that. However, in this, again, if we're trying to sell this to the public and somebody actually gets this deep into the document, which I don't think they will, I would not support that, because I think it gets, I'm just going to say, it's kind of like, it gets a little too ambiguous, and people who are concerned that this has to be the right position or the right person running for this office, they don't want that ambiguity.
Point of order. I made a motion. We either need to determine that there's a second or there's not before we continue with discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dick. I thought I
Sorry,
heard
Dick.
that.
I didn't
It's
realize.
not just
that.
you.
No, I didn't realize that, Dick. You made
Dick,
a
I'll second Dick's motion so that we're under.
What was the motion?
The motion was that we change both shoulds to must, and that in the third bullet, we change, change 5 years of
To 3.
experience to 3 years.
Okay.
That's my motion.
Okay.
I
So Kevin gave us a second. Is there more discussion on this?
Yes.
Yes, Bob, go.
Could we just change the first shall to must, so we have must? I mean, it just sticks out. There needs to be a reason not to do that, or else we should
I'm
do
sorry. I would say shall instead of must.
it. So shall.
Yeah.
And,
Can we do that, Dick, as a friendly amendment?
Sure, I accept that.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
So it's going to be shall have been a resident, shall exhibit, shall have a minimum of, and are we all good with 3 years versus 5?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Any opposition?
Tom votes no.
Tom votes no. Okay.
Tom, on some of these just grammatical things, couldn't you just be with us? I want a hug, man.
I don't think he wants to have, I think he wants to hold his party line.
Wants to have nothing to
Well,
do with it.
I tried that and it didn't work.
Right. I see. I gotcha.
We need to finish that all in favor, right?
Yes. All in favor.
Aye.
And we have one opposed, okay?
And that does not then preclude the conversation we were having about include or don't include life experience. That's a separate conversation that butted in. And I'm okay to let it go. I want it on the record that this commission's intent was that the word be interpreted, education interpreted as life experience. So if somebody tries to get excluded because of that, they can go look back and look at our original.
Okay,
So we
so,
don't have to do it.
okay, so Sharon, you have your hand up. Can we go ahead and move to the new section, or you need something else?
Can I just say that climate change is not a completely divisive along party lines issue. I just feel I need to say that there are plenty of people in both dominant political parties that are very concerned about climate change. Just want to toss that in there. Thank you.
Right, and it's a nonpartisan position, which we talk about in this new section. Because this section, I'm sorry, this is the advisory one. It's one more down. Okay, so this is our advisory council. This has not changed.
I have a concern.
Okay, Dick, let's hear it.
I'm concerned that the advisory committee is basically too insular. And it occurs to me that because so much of the county is already subdivided, that probably a lot of the permits that this office would review, particularly on the shoreline, are simply going to be building permits. And I'm thinking that there ought to be at least one member of this committee who is a professional home builder, because I'd like there to be somebody there who in the course of discussion can say, okay, but let me talk to you about what the practical effect of that would be.
Totally.
I'm a little bit concerned about the optics as it's currently structured, and also that there's another voice there that can talk about what it means in the real world.
Okay, Bob?
I disagree with that. I think that if this advisory council needs the advice of a builder, when it meets, it can call one in and ask questions of that person. I wouldn't want to have, I want this advisory council to be populated by people who share the point of view regarding the need to preserve and protect the environment. That's what they're doing. That's what I think this advisory council, this doesn't need to be an across the board advisory council where it's balanced with people who like the mission and people who don't like the mission, that kind of thing. No. I'd vote against it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Kevin has his hand up. Go for it, Kevin.
Thank you. Bob, appreciate what you're saying. I actually really agree with Dick, and for a few reasons. One is I unfortunately ate crow my first year. Actually, it was many years later, but my first year as a state senator, I passed a law regarding energy efficiency. And years later, I was building a guest house, and I wanted to do the front of the guest house to be basically a garage door so the whole thing could open up. And I was told it didn't meet the energy code. And I pointed out that the R rating for this garage door was actually, almost a wall, and they said, well, the energy code is based on windows, not the R rating. And I said, well, that's stupid. What moron did that? And our county planner just looked at me and I went, you got to be kidding me. And it was a law that I passed, and it was naive because I didn't consult with somebody in the building industry to give me an idea of that. So there's the first point. The second point is there are a number, and I'm thinking Peter Kilpatrick on San Juan Island, builders who are extremely conscious of the work that they do. And their input would be very valuable from an environmental perspective as well as from a professional building perspective. Third point Dick made, which I want to underscore, which is I think this advisory committee needs to be broad-based and include all different inputs of a conversation, and it can't be one-sided. And so I think for it to be successful, we need to make sure that if we're calling out other entities like a conservation organization membership, we have to include some other diverse views. My final point is if it's to include building industry, you could say building industry or other land-based organizations or something like that. I don't know the right language, but I'm thinking
Okay.
you could have a forester or something as well. But
Dick?
somebody from that perspective to give us that professional experience.
Okay, Dick?
Well, and I'm thinking a way, I understand Bob's concern, and I'm thinking a way to address that might be, and I know we talked about this before about number, is to specify that it shall be, for sake of argument, an advisory commission of 7 members, at least 4 of which shall come from the disciplines that are identified here, so that you've got a majority who support the office, but you allow for the fact that you could have as many as 3 other members who are bringing a different point of view to those discussions.
Okay, so this last sentence could say, this body shall include 7 members, of which 4 should be drawn from the
Shall be.
indigenous, or shall be drawn from the indigenous community, local green jobs, and members of conservation organizations and San Juan County youth.
Yeah, and I would hope that maybe addresses Bob's concern.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Liz, I'm sorry.
in the interest of time, can we finish this up and vote that the rest of it in so we can get it to the full commission, knowing where it's going to have to be modified? I'm eager to hear from the minority report.
Yes, we need to, yeah, I got you. Okay.
Thank you.
And I don't think there's a whole lot more to discuss.
what I
But
was
we
thinking.
should vote on this section that deals with the advisory council, because the advisory council is an integral part of our 3 parts that are interrelated: the commissioner, the office, and the council.
So I move that we approve that.
Okay, do I have a second? Sharon, you've got your hand up?
Yeah, I'll second, but I did want to just remind us that we have public comment at.
Yes, we're moving quickly here. Okay. Okay. Kevin, discussion?
Did Dick's original language get in there? I don't see it in
Yes, it says this body shall include 7 members of the San Juan County community, of which 4 are.
It
from the
doesn't,
Is that okay?
it doesn't say the building industry.
No, it leaves us with, they can pick 3 other industries or 3 other groups. This is 1,
So that's
2,
different. What Dick was
3,
suggesting, what you
4,
call.
but this is actually the language he proposed.
Well, no, actually, I
Okay.
talked about including, all right, how about let's say she'll include 7 members of the San Juan community, of which at least 4 are those jobs, and at least 1 is a professional home builder.
That I like.
Okay, so Liz, are you still good with that, moving that motion?
Yes.
Sharon, are you still good with seconding it? Okay. Do I have any dissent?
Yes.
Tom.
Thomas, no.
And I'm a no.
And Bob is a no. Okay, so we
Right.
have 2 no's.
Kyle is a no.
Kyle's a no. So we have 3 no's. And do we have support from,
I support.
I support,
I support.
Dick supports. Liz, where are you?
Yes.
Liz supports. Sharon, where are you?
I support, but I'm just wondering if we should have had more discussion.
We don't, yes, Dick,
I just said we just did have a
we
discussion.
just did have as much discussion.
I
Okay,
realize that, but it seems like people are not happy with it, yes.
And
Okay.
I recognize that we're truncating the process in the interest of time here. And I'm only doing that because it's going to go to the full commission. There'll be more discussion about it.
so what
Yeah.
may happen, Liz and Sharon, just so you know, is we may have public comment and then come back to the minority report, okay?
Okay.
So I've just got to get us through this document.
Yeah,
Okay, so we've got the vote on that, Sharon, you good on that?
I don't have the final tally on it.
Okay, so we have 5 yeses and 3 no. Let's see, we have Tom is a no, Bob is a no, and Kyle is a no. 3 no's.
Is that it? 3 no's?
3 no's.
Okay.
Is that, did I get everybody right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
Kyle, got it right? Okay,
Yes.
moving right along. This is just boilerplate right out of the charter. This is where we would put the new position. Okay. So we're just including it with the other language that currently exists for elected officials. Do we have any discussion on this?
I move we accept it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Kevin, okay, more discussion. Any opposition?
Tom's no.
Tom's a no. Who else is a no? Okay, so we have 7 yeses. Any abstentions? Okay. 7 yeses, 1 no.
Kyle had his hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kyle.
Just a quick question. Do we have to qualify how the advisory council is actually created and then subsequent, are there terms? Are we doing that later? Is that we're gonna have to address that in much the same way as other.
Well, I'll make a note for Kyle Loring on that one. How about?
Well, it says the San Juan County Council shall appoint.
Shall appoint, but it doesn't say for how long.
Are they 6-year terms? Are they,
Let's,
are they rotating? Are they offset?
how
So let me,
about, how about, since we have already said we're going to come back, how about we just finish this last section, go to public comment, and then assuming people can go past 12, then come back to it.
okay,
And I apologize, I have a 12 o'clock. I may be
do.
able to come back to this too, but it's another.
okay. The only additional finding that Bill Apple suggested we add, and if I wasn't so sensitive to the use of wildlife as commodities, I would have just said we can accept it. It deals with the economic impact of killer whales in the Salish Sea was done by the Earth Economics Group, and they pointed out that whale watching participants who whale watch from boat-based tours or from terrestrial viewing points in San Juan County support over 216 million worth of economic activity in the Puget Sound region every year. This activity generates more than 12 million in state and local tax revenue annually and supports 1,800 jobs. And my question is this something that we want to include?
No.
No.
I think it's very important information, but it has no relevance in the creation of the amendment.
Okay.
But
Anybody else?
a finding.
Yeah, it would be a finding.
It would be a finding. Okay. I'm okay for it.
No,
to be a
if we're,
finding.
if we're going to do that, then let's have a finding about salmon. You know?
Okay. We do have a finding about salmon. And we have it also as a finding with salmon as it relates to orcas.
Yeah, but so, I mean, we could also talk about how, in the same organization, Earth Economics did a state report looking at outdoor recreation and the fact that it is $1.9 billion in annual spending supporting 199,000 jobs throughout Washington state. And we have the data for San Juan County. My point is, that's entirely an orca whale economic argument. And we're talking about creating a position that will take into consideration the economics, but first and foremost is considering the, I don't know.
So that's why I brought it up. We have 12 findings. I'm not sure how much further we need to go on the findings.
I'm okay with it being left out.
Yeah, I would leave it out.
Okay.
I'm okay with leaving it out.
But you're
Okay.
saying not included as a finding then.
We're not
Right.
going to include it as a finding. I was more sensitive to the fact that we've had a lot of conversation about the environment as a commodity and a resource. And when I think of it this way with the money, it's making a commodity out of it. But having said all that, we are now going to break. Yes, Kyle.
Madam Chair, I have to leave at 12 too. If you want to have a screen share for your next comment when we come back from public comments, can
gotta
someone
go.
else
Okay.
else provide that?
Well, I might be able to do it myself.
Okay.
I'm not
All
sure
right.
how much more we have to do.
Kyle, your document where you've made all these changes, you'll send that to Anne?
And Marie.
Anne Marie?
Sure.
Sorry.
Okay, so now
Do it now.
we have voted and agreed on everything that's in this document. Am I correct?
Well, I think you should do another motion now, Madam Chair, that says, before Kyle and I have to leave too, that says, okay, now we want to adopt the entire document as amended.
Okay, so will you make that motion?
I will move that we adopt this entire document as amended and present it to the full Charter Review Commission for advancement.
I'll second that.
Okay, so Liz is seconding that. Okay, discussion?
Yes.
Yes, Bob.
I want to join and vote yes, but I do want to reserve the right to join Tom's minority report regarding the advisory council only.
Yes, okay, so that's fine. We're going to come back
I'm going
to
to reserve
that
that.
because that's going to be in Tom's
Okay.
part. Okay, any more discussion? Okay, can we have a vote? Who opposes it?
Well, you
Yeah,
should,
Tom opposes.
Anyone else? Anyone abstaining? Okay, so that means we've got 7 in
Madam
favor
Chair,
and 1 opposed. Yes, Kevin.
point of order for
Yes, go.
for this motion. I think it's very important that you call the ayes and they be recorded.
Okay,
So we need to say all those in favor, and then each of us needed at least to just be recognized even.
We could
Okay.
stop screen share and that would be easier.
okay. Kyle's going to take us out. Okay, so Dick,
You can just say all those in favor. and
all
we-
those in favor? Okay,
Yeah.
Aye.
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 okay, so now what else do you want us to do, Kevin?
I'm sorry, Madam Chair. I just stopped for this vote. It was important.
Okay.
Paul Dossett raised it
You
appropriately.
want the nays too?
Yeah,
Yes,
you
we
need
have
Do I
one
get to vote?
nay.
One nay.
Okay, all good?
motion carries.
Motion carries. Okay, we are now going to go to public comment. So those people that are here from the public that would, Micheline, you have your hand up, so please.
Good morning, everybody. First of all, thank you for your work. I've been trying to follow along with you for weeks now, and I've always tried to practice good environmental stewardship for years and years. And still, I needed to study and study and study this entire time. What I've learned and studied surprised me, what I didn't know. And I was going to come here and I was going to tell you about some of these things I learned. And one of the things I learned is that the laws are really on the side of industry to destroy the environment and nature. There aren't laws for people like me, to protect what I love. And I feel that industry is marginalizing people and taking away our rights to self-govern. And I was going to go into that at length, but instead, it is my understanding that all of you represent me and my tax dollars go to the work you're doing right now. And you know of my great appreciation of what you are doing and how emotionally exhausting it is. And it's my understanding that all of you represent me. And to watch one of you vote no without explanation in a forum or a venue that I would have liked to connect to that person and understand more about why they vote no, but instead just a wall with no, makes me feel like my love for this place and wildlife and nature is not being considered. And the opportunity for us to connect, a door is shut on it because of party lines, has really made me feel dispirited. Again, all of you, every single one of you, I thank you for being here. And I thank you for giving me a voice where I feel there isn't a voice. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. The other hand that's up is Ben. Yes,
Hi, can you all hear me?
we can hear you.
Hi,
Yes.
Ben Bama, San Juan Island. I first off want to thank you all for your work on this and allowing public comment as always. I'm all for creating a robust Office of Climate and Environment, and it looks like for the most part you guys are headed there, which makes me happy. I would love to see this as an elected office with a bold vision and strong language, and especially an emphasis on vigilant enforcement. The enforcement is going to be key, as we know about what's going on with our current code. Without enforcement, the rest of it really doesn't matter. So I just wanted to state my hope that that is accounted into all of this and however it needs to be accounted for. I did want to touch on a couple things that were brought up by people today. One was the tree cutting, and I think that this is sort of relevant to the purview of the Office of Climate and Environment, that trees, well, in addition to their contribution of soil integrity and water retention that replenishes our aquifers, the ability of mature trees to convert CO2 to oxygen is also important, and I think goes towards the vision of climate and environment. And while I would like to see tree cutting limited to necessary instances, I mean, tree cutting is unavoidable. It just happens. But what gets done with that biomass once the trees are down is important too. Mostly on the islands, I see chipping and burning. Chipping isn't that bad, but you do have to deal with the wood chips afterwards. But most of the times I see large cuts being done. It just seems to get burned. I don't know about you, but I don't see a lot of logging trucks catching ferries off the islands to go to the lumber mills. As a San Juan County forest owner myself, my partner and I took a college forestry class, and we were shocked to find out how minimally profitable it is for a landowner to sell logs to a mill to begin with. But for us on the islands, once a ferry ride is paid for, the landowner is, and this was several years ago, admittedly, but the landowner's not going to get more than a couple $100 for a tractor trailer load of logs. So there's really no incentive to do that. I know Micheline has brought this up in the past, at maybe not at this meeting, but another meeting, but the product called Biochar, I don't know how many of you are familiar with that, but creating biochar, it's a controlled and minimally polluting way of burning wood and turning it into a product that can be mixed back into the soil, which in turn increases water retention and nutrient retention. And if anyone has seen how quickly and vigorously plant life returns in the years following a forest fire, that's basically the way it works. It's our interpretation of doing something that nature already does to best reuse the available resources to recreate life. And if anyone wants more information about that, I can provide you with it, and also the names of people who practice it on the islands that know a whole lot more than I do. And to incentivize this, we could raise the fee on commercial burns, and that would cut down on air pollution. We could offer tax credits if you can prove you've turned wood into biochar, or that even you send it to one of our local sawyers to turn into some kind of usable lumber product. We could either have portable biochar kilns. I know the conservation district used to offer them. I don't know if they still do, but we could do that, vastly increase the availability of portable kilns for people to use, or build a central processing facility, which creates jobs. The sale of the end product creates revenue for the county that isn't based on tourism. It sequesters carbon, and it's the most forward-thinking use of an inevitable byproduct of human activity, which I would like to think ticks everybody's boxes. So that was just an idea about the tree cutting. Also relating to the comment about the revenue brought in by orcas and the southern resident killer whales and whale watching. Perhaps you would instead have the ability to place restrictions on the amount of noise pollution and air pollution created by the whale watching industry, push for quieter, cleaner boats that would not only be good for the environment, but also be a big win for the orcas and all other marine animals that breathe our air and find prey by auditory means. And lastly, just something that I thought of recently, I don't know if anyone else has thought of it, that any real estate transaction in San Juan County, I don't know if we could add a waiver, a legal waiver that states by purchasing property in San Juan County, I've read and understand the published land use and building codes and shall not bring suit against the county as a result of violating it. I don't know if we could do that, but it might cut down on, the burden of the county for upholding, or the financial burden on the county of upholding our code and rules. So again, thank you so much for your work. That was kind of long-winded. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. And also thank you for the comments that you sent to all the commissioners. Appreciate it. Okay, I don't see anyone else from the public. So I'm going to go ahead and close public comment and come back to the minority report now. And I think Michelin also pointed out how important it is for us to hear from Tom. So Tom, would you like to go ahead and take the floor?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Did you all receive a written version of my report in the mail, in the county mail? If not, maybe I should just read this. I would defer to what you say, Madam
Let's see.
Chair, if it's okay.
So
Can you screen
It's
share?
about
Tom?
did
about a
you
3-minute
not receive it, Liz?
No, I did receive it. I just wondered if he could screen share as he's talking.
Bob is shaking.
I,
his head.
I didn't see it.
It came in.
I tried it.
It came in today or last night.
And I have to admit, I'm really a clod with Outlook's emailing system. So
Okay.
I
I
can't do it. I
downloaded
can't
it.
do
I
it.
can screen share.
Okay. So,
Okay.
and then I think many of us have read it, but I think it's fine for you to go through it for us.
Okay.
And Maria, I downloaded. I can screen share.
Okay, so why don't you go ahead and screen share?
Okay.
And then after this, I have a question about, the procedure with a minority report that somebody might be able to share. Okay, so here we go.
Okay.
Everybody see that?
Well,
Yeah.
all right. Well, here's my report. The first section is called the San Juan County Climate Commissioner. The creation of an elected position called Climate Commissioner and the establishment of an Office of Climate and Environment would be a needless duplication of effort and a gross mismanagement of taxpayer funds. There are many existing agencies, both public and private, which have as part of their mission the preservation of the environment in San Juan County, namely San Juan County Long Range Planning and Community Development Department, San Juan County Public Works Environmental Resource Group, Friends of the San Juans, County Extension Agent, the San Juan County Land Bank, the Department of Ecology, the Department of Natural Resources, the Bureau of Land Management, the U.S. Corps of Engineers, the EPA, and the National Park Service. We recently heard presentations by San Juan County Community Environmental Managers Erica Shook, Kendra Smith, and Barbara Rosencotter. They listed and briefly discussed the many environmental programs and projects they are working on. The next section is entitled Significant Negative Environmental Effects. This is the phrase used in our environmental review documents and is useful in defining our situation regarding climate change and environmental degradation. I asked the members of the commission to define the environmental situations on our county, which are significant and negative, and which will be helped by the creation of this Climate and Environment Office. If there are such situations, they need to be immediately brought before the county council and appropriate agency mentioned above. Next section is called Long-Term Climate Change. What would this new office do regarding this? Would the new office point out those aspects of our environment which are changing now and will change in the future? That is being done every day in countless papers and studies which are available to the county departments and agencies mentioned above. Climate change has been happening since the beginning of creation. My next section, called the job description of the new Climate and Environment Commissioner and related office. It is proposed that this new commissioner would review and recommend new ordinances and play an active role in conceptualizing, drafting, and advancing climate and environmental policies. But with no legislative authority, all implementing ordinances would remain in the hands of the county council. In addition, management of all existing environmental functions of San Juan County government involving approximately 8 departments and functions would be transferred to this new office. My next section is called the Probable Disruption in order to organize and implement this new office. Significant disruption and expense will be experienced by the county, i.e. taxpayers, as all the existing environmental functions mentioned above get transferred to this new department. Next section is called Cost to San Juan County Taxpayers of this new venture. In addition to the above mentioned costs, it has been suggested that this new commissioner position would probably pay in the $70,000 to $90,000 per year range. With expenses for benefits and staff, increases of several $100,000 to the annual budget are probable. So in summary and conclusions, the creation of this new position and office is not justifiable. The CRC time and effort would be much better spent finding areas in which to improve efficiency, service, and reduce the cost of government to the taxpayers. Submitted by Tom Starr, CRC Commissioner 2021.
I
You're
have a
muted.
question, Tom, and I don't know if anybody else does. Under the job description of the new Climate and Environment Commission and related jobs, you say in there that in addition, management of all existing environmental functions in San Juan County government, including approximately 8 departments and functions, would be transferred to this new office. Which 8 are you talking about? I was only familiar with one division that was moving in, and also one aspect of county code enforcement. So which 8 are you talking about? I just didn't want people to be misled, and maybe you were talking about something that was in an earlier document that's not in the one that we're talking about now.
Yeah, it's in an earlier document, and all the various functions and sub-departments in San Juan County were listed.
Right,
And I
so isn't that
counted-
misrepresentative of what we are actually proposing here? Because what we're proposing here is that what we're taking is the Environmental Resources Division. It's on the very first page of our document. So we're taking one division and we're taking the code enforcement of chapters 18.35 critical areas and 18.50 shoreline program management. So I'm not sure kind of where you're actually getting your information from for this. So I didn't want to, have to make that point tonight, but I think you might want to revisit that.
Well, I just counted up those items that were included in that section. Under new section, Office of Climate and Environment shall include the following. And,
So it's going to include
those,
the
I can-
Environmental Resources Division, which is Kendra's program. So Kendra's program is going to be in here, and then one aspect of code enforcement. So I wasn't sure where you got 8 departments and this great disruption to the county. So
to me, all the bits and pieces that would be transferred to this department constitute, I just counted them up from page 1 of the document we were just going through.
so
I
you're
have
counting,
a-
you're separating out the aspects of the environmental resources division to get 8. clean water utility, marine programs,
Yeah,
solid
yeah,
waste,
yes, yeah.
storm, and cultural. I think my question still remains, isn't that misrepresenting what's actually occurring? But I'll let Dick go ahead.
Well,
Okay.
I was going to support you, Anne Marie. Tom, I think it would be fairer in this if you just referred to exactly what is in the document that we just approved, which is one division of public works and then this one portion of another function. I think this is misleading, and it would be nice to be more accurate.
Fair enough, fair enough. So
Okay.
noted. We'll try to change that.
Okay, Sharon, did you have something?
I just want to say that I feel like we've been in different meetings and taken different messages away from what people have presented to us. And I'm just concerned that I just find a lot of this as misrepresenting my experience of the science of climate change and what people who work for the county have expressed to us, that they're not able to get to this work.
Dick, you still have your hand up? Dick, did you want to say something else?
I forgot to take it down, but yes, that was going to be my other point to Tom. I thought that we very clearly heard from those people that they simply don't have the time to devote to these kinds of things. And also, I think the evidence of the last, I forget what year that resolution was signed. Was it 2007 or was it
2008? Yeah.
2008. Okay. That, very little of that has been accomplished. So I think the evidence is clear that what happens now simply isn't working in attempting to get to these issues that we're talking about.
Okay, appreciate your position.
Yes, Liz.
So Tom, I have a question for you in this section I have. Everybody see the screen share there? Okay.
Uh-huh.
In that section that starts off significant negative environmental effect.
Uh-huh.
And so Tom, you're saying this is the phrase used in our environmental review documents and is useful in defining. So you're saying that our county, we didn't produce evidence, or is there something further you needed? I feel like we are seeing this very differently, that the evidence of environmental degradation are everywhere. And if there's specific documents or reports that you requested and we weren't responsive to, I would think that was remiss on our part. And I wanted to be sure that we did it.
Well, Liz, I would just like to follow up with that. And we've cited in our findings the climate resiliency report from the Madrona Institute. We've included the climate impact group report from the University of Washington, which talks about Friday Harbor. That document is from 2019. The resiliency report from the Madrona Institute is from 2017. The CDOC Society information was in the paper this year. The other things that we have included in all of our findings are well documented. And so I don't know that there's anything left that we needed to provide for Tom. Kendra gave us a list of items that she wished she would be able to do, but knew that she wouldn't be able to do in the time that she was here. Erica Shook told us that she does the comprehensive plan, but she has no time to even think about implementing the comprehensive plan or how it's being implemented. She also told us that she is 5 months behind on permit applications, and that's what keeps her awake. Barbara Rosencotter spoke to us quite eloquently about the pushback that she got when she was the lead entity for salmon recovery for 10 years by county council members. And I'm just saying, I think including the names of these people and not really saying kind of the information that they gave us is also somewhat misleading. but it is a minority report and Tom is certainly welcome to that. My question, Tom, is
So,
are you going to go ahead and put that report out for the rest of the commission, or did you already do that and will you amend it?
It's already been sent.
Okay, so will you
But I'm
amend
happy
it
to,
or?
I'm happy to amend this section, sure.
Thank you. Dick, and then Sharon and Liz. Liz, go ahead.
I asked a specific question of Tom, and so I would like to go back to that. So I'm trying to clarify is if what he's saying is that if there are such situations, they need to be immediately brought before the county council, appropriate action, or is he saying that he didn't, in the documents that you just listed and the information that we've all received, he feels he didn't, his question wasn't answered. I just wanted clarity from Tom, what's missing for him.
Well, you mentioned an example yourself, Liz, of a neighbor cutting down. I think one day you said 3 trees or lots of trees. And if in your view, that is probably a significant negative action. So if you see something like that that's happened without a permit, you need to take some action. And sounds like you're not afraid to speak up. But those actions that are significant and negative in the permit process don't get a permit. And in somebody's opinion, whether they're significant and negative is a big thing. So if you see things going on, you need to call the enforcement officer. Granted, there's only one of them, but we've talked about that.
So Madam Chair, if I may, then that, Tom, would also be an area I would ask you to amend, because I think what it reads is as if there wasn't adequate evidence presented that really showed the damage and degradation that's occurring in our county versus, so your point is, and I totally agree with you, that if we see something, then we need to call county council for action on that. But the first part of that section there, to me, reads as if there was not significant evidence presented to this commission. And I would ask you if you're willing to amend that section as well. And we just heard Anne Marie, give a report of all of the documents that we received and reviewed and weighed upon. And
Liz, Sharon has her hand up. Tom, did you want to
I'm
go
happy-
ahead and respond?
I just don't have a response right now, but I'm happy to
Okay.
think more about that.
Okay,
thank you, Tom.
Sharon?
Yeah, yeah, I would like to just respond to something that Micheline said before, is that, she thinks that we're all representing her. But there are people in the county that don't share our concerns about, what needs to be done environmentally for both our natural ecosystems and for human well-being. And so that's, we are elected by people who want us to represent their interests. There's 8 people on this committee. 7 of us are been elected by people that want us to protect the environment. I think that's where we are. We're not all on the same page. We don't all have the same worldview and perspective on these things. So, and Tom being in the minority, I find it frustrating. I vehemently disagree with a lot of Tom's perspectives, and yet I also know what it's like to be in the minority, and it's not a comfortable place to be. So, just giving a little empathy for that.
Well, I agree, Sharon. It's an uncomfortable spot sometimes. And when I was county commissioner, I got to sit one evening and listen to 100 Waldronites, it seemed like, come to the microphone and get after me for a vote that I made. So, yeah, I understand.
Okay, any other comments on the minority report?
I
Tom,
have
thank
one.
you. Oh, yes, Bob, please.
I just want to say very briefly that although, as Sharon has stated, I do disagree with a lot of Tom's viewpoints. I would fiercely protect his right to have those opinions. And I think the other people on this committee feel the same way. That's what I've gotten from the committee. And, you know, that's the way that rolls. And we may not agree with him, but he has the right to those opinions.
I would say
That's all.
amen to that.
Okay.
Complete amen.
Thanks.
Okay. I think we're at a point where if there's no more discussion of this, we would adjourn the meeting. We still have, probably for next week, we need to talk about the build out analysis. We received at 9:15 Randy Gaylord's comments. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Have discussion.
Yes, Dick.
Yeah, I will make that motion, but I just wanted to say for those who have the time, and I only had a chance to speed read it before the meeting, I would read Randy's latest, if you have time to do it before this afternoon's meeting.
Right.
If you don't, it's not the end of the world. I mean, there will be people there, I'm sure, who have read it, but so it's an involved read from what I saw.
Yes. Yes, Liz.
And then
Can I-
I'll move to.
Can you
Oh,
hold
sorry.
on? I think that Sharon and I would need input from you all based on Randy's document of what this group needed or doesn't need from us.
Okay, on the build out analysis. I was kind of thinking you were going to make a recommendation to the San Juan County Council.
I don't think we're there, but we could certainly
Okay.
consider that
Okay.
and would welcome comments from all of you on the best approach.
Okay, and that might be what we talk about next week to some extent. I list that as one of our issues and say that something is forthcoming.
Okay, and now I will move to adjourn, but first I want to say I want to move that Bob change his name to Harry so that we actually could have Tom, Dick, and Harry on this committee.
Boom.
That would be very
That
cool.
would be very cool.
I'm trying with growing a beard. I'm trying to get more hairy, but we'll see.
I move we adjourn.
Okay, and do I have a second? I don't have a second to adjourn. Tom gives me a second, thank you. Okay, motion, everybody in favor?
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
are you
Aye.
are you in favor of this? Are you sure?
Oh, I'm pleased to say aye.
Okay, okay.
Tom, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
I
you,
really
everybody.
appreciate your help. This was a
Value-
slug.
You value your report.
See you in a
Yes.
few hours.
Yeah, thank you very much. Bye now.
Okay.
Sharon, can you stay on for a moment or are we off here?
Yeah, I'll stay on if you want.
Stop the recording.
Oops, let me get in here.